Hi, this is Ikenke from Blue Steel Auto School again. We're at another road test site now. This is the Starrett City road test site, and I'm gonna just go over some things that are particular to Starrett City. You know the general things already. Gear, signal, wheel, be observant, be smooth, right? Obey the signs and the laws, obviously. Just basic things. But every road test site has their own personality. Starrett City is one that has a lot of personality. Some sites you'll hear me say are straightforward. Starrett City isn't necessarily straightforward. So, if you have been driving enough and practicing the right things, there's nothing here that's like extremely outrageous, but you just have to know. Alright, so of course you're not allowed to practice at the site, but you have to find somewhere similar. If you have an instructor from a school, they'll, it's illegal to go to the site to practice, but there are some places near, somewhat nearby that kind of simulate some of the things that you'll see at Starrett City. So try to find those places and practice. All right. So we're gonna go over how we start out. And there's a couple of different variables here. If you're going with the school and there's more than one person taking the test that day, you might not always start in the same place, right? Sometimes another student might go first, and then you might go from wherever that student left off, right? So we'll go over that, and depending on where you start, your route is going to be different. And of course they have several different routes that they can choose from, no matter which way you start from. Alright, so without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so I'm near the start point here. This is where you line up for the test. This is Pennsylvania between, it's Flatlands between Pennsylvania and Van Sicklen. Alright, so you start off facing Van Sicklen. So this is if you're the only student, or if you're the first student, right? Or if you just came in a friend or family's car, right? You start off, just like we've discussed before, you get into the car, do your seat mirrors and belt. Don't start the car without permission, right? You wait for them to ask you to start the car. And you can turn the key halfway to do your mirrors, right? So you can adjust your mirrors without fully starting the engine if you have to. And you just follow their lead in the beginning. They'll tell you when to start the car, then they'll say, okay, when it's safe or when you're ready, then you proceed, right? So these are the things that you encounter at every road test site, right? So now I'm gonna get ready. So I'm pretending now that they've told me it's okay to go. All right. Put the brake down. So remember, as I said before, gear, signal, wheel. All right. Now in this case, there's a car directly in front of me. But one thing that gets people at Starrett City is if they happen to be the first car. They might be, the first car in line, and there's a little space between where you start and the light. And if the examiner asks you to turn right, you still have to leave the curb. Remember, the parking lane, you're not supposed to drive in the parking lane unless you are parking, right? Or you're leaving. But you don't want to just purposely go into the parking lane to make a turn, or stay in the parking lane to make a turn. So you have to exit the parking lane and then go up and make the turn. Alright, so now I'm looking mirror and shoulder, and with Starrett City, you have to make sure both lanes are clear. As a student driver, make sure both lanes are clear when you're coming out, just in case you come out too far. This is the space here. Usually they have you make this right turn. There's a bike lane here, but if you remember from my previous videos, I've taught you mirror to curb in one turn. So if you do mirror to curb in one turn, then you won't go in the bike lane. Most of the time, again, not 100% of the time, most of the time, they have you make this diagonal turn. Since it's a diagonal turn, it's about a half to 3/4 turn. It's not a full circle because it's not 90 degrees. This is another place that gets a lot of students. It's a stop sign. Line on the ground. You have to come to a complete stop at the line. Not going through the line. You have to stop at the line. Then you make sure it's clear. And then you come through. Now, as I said, at any site, you have to be ready to park at any time. Right? So parking isn't always at the end. They could have asked you to park at any of these spots. A lot of times they're going to ask you to either turn right or left here, right? So you're entering a square loop here, all right? Mirror to the curb, one turn, and you go right around the parked cars, all right? Now, technically here, you don't have a choice but to turn, so it's not really necessary to turn, to signal, but I would signal just in case. It's not necessary because you're just following the road, right? Mirror to curb, one turn. Just treat it like a normal turn, and you end up around the cars in safe position. Again, here you don't really have to signal, but just in case the examiner is anal about things like that, you signal. Mirror to the curb, one turn. All right, and then you come around. Now, you come into a stop sign here. Pay attention to whether the examiner wants you to turn right or left. I'm gonna pretend I'm being told to turn left, and then I'm gonna stop here, complete stop at the line, and then you creep out. And remember, the other traffic does not have a stop sign because this is a regular stop sign, not an always stop sign. So you have to come out slow. If you see something coming, they have the right of way. You have to let them go. Now I'm getting to the middle and one turn. So this yellow line is a little wide over here. It's expanded, but you're still going around the line. Don't go through the line. Don't let your tires touch the line. Get the front of your car to the line and do one turn. All right? Once it's safe. All right? And then you just stay next to the line, not on the line, not in the bike lane. All right? So they could have asked you to park or do a 3-point turn at any point here. A lot of times what they'll do is if you haven't parked or done a 3-point turn yet, they can have you make a right turn here, mirror to the curb, one turn, go around the bike lane. Right? You got speed bumps here. Pay attention to the sign. It says 20, right? So you should be like between 15 and 20. You don't want to be too slow, right? So they'll have you come down here. I won't go through parking. We did that in another video. I will pull over here, and just to turn around, I will do a 3-point turn. I won't go into detail about how to do it. We've done other videos with that. So I'm just gonna do gear signal wheel. I'm gonna look around, all right? And that car is going slow and it's far away. I'm gonna stop here in the middle. Gear, no need for signal in the middle. Wheel, look behind me and come back a little bit. All right, gear, no need for signal in the middle. Wheel, look, all right, and come around and next to the yellow line. All right, speed bump coming up. It's a 20-mile-an-hour speed bump. I'm just gonna be between 15 and 20. Let the car roll, all right? And then usually, if you come this way, they'll have you pull over here on the side. So you signal and you look, and you slow down as you come over and pay attention to where they want you to come over. And always end up straight. You don't want to leave the car crooked. You end up straight, all right? All right, and then you put the car in park. All right, and sometimes they might ask you to turn on the hazards. It depends. Just know the hazards are usually a red button, right, with a triangle on it. All right. So that's one version of the test. Of course, we didn't actually do parking, but understand parking is part of the test. Now, if you were a second student and the first student went that route, then you'd be starting from here. So I'm gonna pretend to do that now. All right. So now let's pretend the next student came in. You know, all the preliminaries were done, paperwork, you know, seat mirrors, belt. Wait to start the engine, wait to get going. Now it's time to go. All right. Gear, signal, wheel, mirror, shoulder, and come out. All right. And the light just turned yellow. You can go through the yellow, not the red. All right. So if you're at least at the middle of the intersection when it turns red, then you're good. You don't want to be just barely entering the intersection when it turns red. So you can take this route. This route is pretty straightforward. I mean, you can go straight here, you can turn left, you can turn right, you know, whatever the examiners want. All right. And when you go this way, there's two possible ways you could come back. You can come back down this road, or you can come around on the other side. I'll make this right here, mirror to the curb, one circle, right? And slowly always ask you to. And that's that. That's Starrett City. Alright, so I know some people are gonna have some questions about this one, so feel free, shoot us your questions and your comments, request notifications, and subscribe so you know when the next one is coming, and like the video. Alright, take care everybody.